Allow me to explain to you why the news bores me. It bores me because I actually know reality. I a lot of it anyway. And therefore the news is just so fucking dull, and the people who take it seriously, I just don't know how to, they surround me because they're pretty much almost the entire world. I don't know how to deal with them. Well, I do. I deal pleasantly with them, but no more. It's a time for truth. So let's have a look at the news, eh? Okay, I put on the screen recorder. And here we go. Google News. All right, Trump. Unbelievable. They really just can't oh my fucking shit. Like, he was very super duper entertaining when nobody took him seriously. Now that they take him seriously, they remove all our entertainment. The only reason that I wanted him to win in 2016 is because of how entertaining it was to watch him. Then they stopped showing us entertaining stuff and just did whatever bullshit. And I don't give a shit right, wrong. It doesn't matter to me. It's not like Trump was ever on my team or your team. Seriously? No, of course not. It was just he would be more fun to watch on TV than whoever he was. He's running against Hillary Clinton. Yeah. Anyway, it got so boring, in fact. It got so boring, in fact, that I wanted him to lose in 2020. Also, luckily, I always get what I want. I put money on Trump in 2016 before he even started running as the. Anyway, let's talk more about the news here. Trump in Florida to prepare for court appearance. The latest in federal indictment. What to expect when Trump is charged. Oh, God. Home to many a proud boy. Miami gets tested by Trump's day in court. Okay. All right. All right. So we could talk about how terrible the news media is in a million different factors, but let's talk about the Trump thing here. And not about the media, but about what the fuck even was that, right? What was that just came on? Google wants me to, the way that they totally control. So the first thing is about Trump because they want you to care. They want you to care. The people who control your life, who control what you believe, forget what your children believe, what you believe, what your parents believed. The people who control, people currently in control, and no, there's not some small secret cabal. It's complicated. I can explain it to you at a different time. But yeah, it's useful for them, this Trump business. And some of them, though, are too stupid to realize that it's just a game and they become true believers. They at least get what they deserve. They made poison and they ate their poison. Trump is righteous. Trump is evil. Right. No, they're just trying to get you to give a shit. Don't fall for it. As for court appearance, last thing I saw here was CNN saying Donald Trump arrives in Florida ahead of his historic court appearance Tuesday. Yeah, that's true. It is historic, but Trump's not going to prison. I haven't read a single article, by the way, on Trump's. I don't even know what it's about. I swear to God, I do not know what he is going on for. Is it because he paid Stormy Daniels that back when he was president? I mean, they let us in on that, the news. They let us a little entertainment because they thought it would hurt him. Otherwise, they never would have told us. God, how many sex scandals regarding Trump alone are they not telling us because they're not practical? Shame on them. Never mind. Remember Al Gore and his back massager? Anyways, yeah. Presidents don't put presidents in jail. Every so often something mistaken happens, and it depends on the country. Of course, in Pakistan, every 2 weeks they put the previous guy in jail. All over Africa, etc. But America worked out a system of non-democracy. America figured out during the Civil War that democracy doesn't work and it's a bad idea. They kind of knew it beforehand too, simply by virtue of the fact that they were keeping their slaves and did not grant the slaves the right to vote, not even 3/5 of a vote. So yeah, they figured out a system, and that is let the people fight it out on the football field. Let them fight their wars on the football field and their tribalisms in pretend puppet, appearances. And for the record, by the way, I'm not saying anything absolutely crazy. Trust me, I'm as sane as they get, and I know more than most people do about most things. What's next? Russia-Ukraine war at a glance. What we know on day 475 of the invasion. Can't they come up with a better headline than what we know on day 475? Ukrainian counteroffensive against Russia underway. Hasn't that been like the headline every single day for the past 475 days? War in Ukraine so far favors the defense. Right, that's how it usually is. Sure. The high stakes of Ukrainians' offensive. So I guess they're offensive now. Okay, Russia-Ukraine war. Sorry, there's too much to say about it, and the fact is that there are lives on the line, lots and lots of lives. And if you've watched all my videos, you know that I have had some personal experience with things along these lines, even in that region, regarding that region anyway. I guess the main thing that I have to say is it's amazing how boring they can make it sound, right? With the Trump thing, The New York Times, of course, gives us the picture. CNN tells us the latest on the federal indictment against Donald Trump. Live updates. What to expect, right? Because, they supposedly have a higher quality readership. What to expect when Trump is charged in the documents case. It's a documents case. So it's not Stormy Daniels. Told you, I really don't know. Home to many a proud boy. In other words, be ready for violence and whatever. Jesus, fuckity shit. Anyway, so over here they tried to make it interesting, even though it's not interesting, because kings don't kill kings. For real. I mean, like in places where they have real kings, not democracies. It wouldn't work. For the whole system, it wouldn't work if they were putting the previous guy in jail. That's why, Trump's main rallying cry was lock her up. Lock her up was said much more than building the wall. Mexico's going to pay for it. Lock her up. And yet the very first thing he did upon winning the presidency was say how he received a gracious call from Hillary's people or blah, 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 blah. People saying lock her up, and he says, no, or whatever the fuck. Who gives a shit? It was a long time ago. But kings don't kill kings. Yes, they're fighting their own little thing. You're just a pawn. And if you decide to play in their game and be used, well, I guess that's what you're made for. They tried to make it sound interesting because it's not going to be interesting. Trump is not going to go to jail. Anything I say, do I know for sure 100%? No. Because the world has too many variables for me to make, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, cyber Trump. But what are the odds that Trump is going to land up in jail within the next week? Not week, I'm sorry. That he is going to end up being sentenced and imprisoned and not pardoned, etc., and actually sitting in a prison for more than a day. In other words, it can't be just some symbolic bullshit. It has to be like, what are the odds that within the next 3 years, Trump will spend a straight year in prison? What are the chances that within the next 3 years, Trump will spend a straight year in prison? I would say the chances are 1 in 100. And I'll say now that if anybody wants to make a bet, obviously, I'm going to demand better odds. Why not? Get more money. And on the short chance that you lose less. I'll give 10 to 1 odds if anybody wants to take me up on it. I don't know exactly how we'd verify it, but leave a comment. Whatever. I mean, I might still take those odds in a year. Just so whatever. Whenever you see this, feel free to leave a comment. And at the time, I'll tell you if I'll do that or not. But as of now, absolutely. Within the next 3 years, he will not sit for a full year in jail. A year is a long time, especially for a guy like him. Again, a day is a symbolic thing. It's not what I'm referring to. He's not going to spill the beans on shit, nor are future people going to be afraid to run for president or not trust the system as it currently is run, as you don't understand how it's run. It's what, I guess Trump simplified it for people by calling it the deep state, but the fact is they teach it in all the business schools. Everyone knows, and I can explain it to you how it's run, the various cartels and whatnot. Anyway, yeah. So the next thing, the Russia-Ukraine war, where you basically have 100,000 people, and I'm getting bored of this already, so I'm going to stop in a moment. You have 100,000 people actually with guns in their hands and knives and machetes running around with cameras strapped to their head right fucking now, trying to kill each other? Is that about right? Not to mention how many cameras and other stuff is everywhere. How is it that they're able to get such incredible, boring headlines day after day? This one doesn't even try. CNN, Russia-Ukraine news. I mean, seriously, there's big shit going on. You'd think we should know something about it or whatever, if this was a democracy. Well, hell, it's our money, it's our politicians calling for the assassination of a head of a nuclear state, etc. But it's nothing like democracy anyway. So, but nonetheless, from the news perspective, and they want your attention. Nonetheless, they also know how to toe the party line. Take away from CNN's town hall with Chris Christie. Who gives a fuck? Illinois outlaws book bans in schools and public libraries. Preventing book bans in Illinois. Apparently both sides are trying to, everyone is trying to ban books. They just disagree on which books to ban. So I have no doubt that this will be not no doubt, but my guess is that this is a toothless thing that he's doing, because it's still going to go. Silvio Berlusconi, Booga Booga parties. So, that's where you should get your headlines. NYPD commissioner, no shit. Body recovered. Seriously? Just all that here? And then they come back to the same news they already told you before, because they really want you distracted from the things that matter. Anyway, I'll just go through this very quick, see if anything. 1 dead, of course. Sure, let's give you more things to be afraid of. Young people start to testify at historic U.S. climate trial. No idea, don't care. Russia-Ukraine list of key events. And look how boring that picture is. They're just moving boxes, and they got water. Okay, yeah. Wow, the algorithm is so stupid. People are afraid of AI. AI is retarded. Trust me, the people who are running it today are hurting you more than AI could. AI is retarded. Dead woman bangs on coffin during her own wake in Ecuador. Thank you for an interesting story. For the record, I have actually chased down stories of people who claim, for religious reasons, to know about somebody being brought back from the dead. And they can pretty much always come down to this kind of story right here. Like that guy whose wife dies, and as the Chevra Kadisha, as the burial society is taking her down the steps, they bang into the wall, and it turns out she wasn't dead. She woke up, and they live a very nice, happy life together the next 10 years. And then she actually does die. Chevra Kadisha come by as they're taking her down the stairs. The husband shouts, "Be careful of the wall!" Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what, when they dig up these people that had died and now they're alive, but they can't talk and their fingers are all bloodied. They don't have their fingers left. I swear to God, I've spoken to cases, people like that. Not the people who have the fingers. Usually, if you're buried alive in a box and it takes 3 weeks for them to get you and you come out alive, this guy was down to the stumps. He had nothing left in his fingers. Poor motherfucker. They're burying live people. It's a good story. But anyway, children from Amazon plane crash helped by Columbia commandos. JP Morgan settles with Jeffrey Epstein victims for $290 million. Oh, let's distract you with sex stuff, huh? Listen, watch the very first video of mine, all right? Very, very first. You should know you shouldn't. Nobody had the balls to walk in there except people with a very serious agenda and money to make. So, and they're distracting you by the sex stuff. The real question is, who was blackmailing who, and what did it cost you? That's the real question. What was all are all the leaders of the world in on this blackmail scheme where if any one of them looks like they're gonna break, then they get suicided or something like that? What the fuck, right? Anyway, like I said, that's a separate subject. Toyota, great, right? Because they're gonna go electric, so that's why their money goes up until the big crash eventually comes because government props, etc. Old news happens all the time. Nobody catches on. Dow Jones today, index climbs ahead of, right. Okay, well, there are people who care about that kind of stuff. I'm not one of them. Not that either. Never got into games. Was always afraid I'd get addicted to them. I don't even know what this means. Surprise, Capcom has released a demo for Ghost Trick on the Switch eShop. One thing I gotta tell, by the way, between generations, fuck it. Just gonna say, you guys gotta understand, you're speaking different languages. Be nice to each other. Don't know who he was. Can't believe he's still alive. I'm straight. I'm white. I'm not a fag. It's a separate thing. This covers both of the previous genres. Jesus Christ, the sport's boring to people who don't give a shit about it. All right, these interest me, but I would only actually get anything out of it by reading the articles. And that's going to be about that. Let's see what they go with the health. Obesity changes the brain with no sign of health is the main area they try to keep you addicted to. Obesity changes the brain with no sign of reversibility. Expert says, wow, how interesting that they would suddenly become anti-obesity. I thought we were like all about how accept any body and everyone's beautiful and yabba yabba, right? We were doing that for a few years now. We were doing that for like decades. But then this super drug comes out that they're trying to give to like 60% of kids. Fine. Hey, listen, I'm not working out as much as before, so I wouldn't mind an obesity drug. I can eat whatever I want, and it just, this drug does its wonders. It sounds magnificent. Let them experiment on the children first, like they did with the COVID vaccine too. Amazing. Well, suddenly obesity is a bad thing. Yeah, brain responses to nutrient. Yeah, wow. Stubborn dopamine hamper weight loss. Just in time. All over the New York subway system, they have these ads for that little thingy. Oh, and I guess it's that day of the week. Alcohol in moderation may lower stress-related risk of heart disease, study finds. I swear it was last week that there was a headline that it does not do that. This is just copy-paste stuff. There's no reason. I'm not even going to scroll. Let's see if there's anything that's... Yeah, okay, great. No, of course not. Of course not. It's all, yeah. Just, oh my fuckity god. Just so that you feel lost also, so you don't trust the system, you don't believe the system. It's a divide and conquer bullshit. Don't get me wrong. I'm speaking of they, as if there's people that are outside the system. No, they're inside the system too. I mean, my god, the things that most people think went on the Epstein Island, with the people that follow it, like obsessively. They think there was like mass torture, and I've met so many people who believe it from all over the world about their local enemies, the exact same shit. And that's really just a sign that the person who believes that is has difficulty in their own lives. Yeah, a lot of bad things went on there, but yeah, everyone's within the system. So when I say they, the people who run the world, I'm not referring to reptilians or to Jews or to Freemasons. Fuck, I just had a long conversation with a Freemason last night on the train. Guy was at first freaked out because young guy, 22, but he's already number 32. He's got in the list after he's been in the Freemasons for 3 years. Nerdy kind of fella, needed, whatever. And he belongs to the wrong lodge, unfortunately. Anyways, but yeah, they're not running the world either. Not even this kid's not running the world. They won't even let him into the real. Okay, maybe at the real lodge in New York. Yeah, at the main one in certain groups, there is a lot of networking that goes on still, and that's one of the only Masonic places where anything useful. There's more networking going on in a Reformed synagogue in California than there is at some of these Masonic lodges in New York. All right, what's this? Mosquito bites, virus. Mosquitoes have viruses. Yeah, right. Okay, great. Are we against giving names to it now, lest they be racist or something? Peru dengue outbreak. At least 200 dead, 130,000 cases amid El Nino. Dengue is not great. Children. That's what you throw in a headline. Sacrifice the children. Well, in any case, Peru's very far away. Really not something you got to worry about. All right, that's the news. Yeah, assuming it was recording. Hey, that's the news.